Slaughterhouse.
Good morning, maggots, and welcome to the Slaughterhouse. Today we'll be looking at version 4 Sarge, Slaughter's Marauders Sgt Slaughter. This figure was the first time Sgt Slaughter was available as a single carded figure. You didn't have to mail away or pick up a vehicle in order to own a Sgt Slaughter G.I.Joe. And as a kid, this figure was the only version of Sgt Slaughter that I had seen in stores. But after looking it over, I decided it wasn't the version of Sarge I wanted. I was always on the lookout for the Triple T, and by the time Marauders Sarge came about, I had no idea that the opportunity to own a Triple T would never present itself. So I passed up on this one. Little did I know that this would be the final Sgt Slaughter figure to be made in the original Hasbro run. It was too much of a departure from what I was familiar with for Sarge, with the blue tank top and matching sunglasses, and the missing paint apps on the wristband weren't doing it any favours. There is a single paint application on the top of the campaign cover that I would have gladly done without in favour of the wristbands. His mould is made up entirely from the mail-away version, and honestly, what a difference that paint makes. The only carryover is the black for the whistle, and to a lesser extent, the black parts on the boots. Due to poor plastic quality, this version of Sgt Slaughter is the one that I find to be more frequently missing thumbs, and on some occasions, it's not the thumb that's the issue. But, as we say at the Slaughterhouse, leave no Sarge behind. And a battle-damaged Sarge is always welcome in my collection. A little history goes a long way and adds a lot of character. His one accessory was the easily lost swagger stick.
My swagger stick! Thanks!
Which I have come to find has the least gold paint present when compared to the others. In the cartoon that came after the G.I.Joe animated movie, not only does he carry around his swagger stick, but he uses it effectively against Cobra.
Cobra! Yo, Joe!
The card art is a pretty good representation of the final product. They have gone as far as to not include the wristbands on the character, but I guess they just assumed we would ignore them on the figure. The symbol on the campaign cover is different to the figure, but that's pretty standard at this point. And the artist has drawn his lower half wearing combat fatigues instead of the wrestling tights. In fact, the lower half looks to be drawn exactly from the Triple T version of Sgt Slaughter, as evident by the belt design. And although it has been torn away from my example, the corner shows that Hasbro elected to name his swagger stick a baton. But up until this point, Sgt Slaughter was advertised in mail-away offers as coming with a billy club, so it wasn't very consistent. The back of the card highlights the Slaughter's Marauders subgroup and hilariously states they are shielded by their camouflage. I will dedicate a video to the Marauders themselves, so I won't go into too much detail now, but taking a look at the file card, Sgt Slaughter's primary military specialty is now Slaughter's Marauders Commander. On the bottom of the card you can see the figure was made in Brazil, and the Slaughter's Marauders figures were actually made by a company called Estrella in Brazil, due to the molds being in Brazil at the time, and also to test additional production capacity should they need it. The results is that the Slaughter's Marauders figures have extremely brittle plastic. Not as bad as the Indian Fun School G.I.Joe, but that's why you see an extremely high frequency of broken thumbs and crotches on Slaughter's Marauders figures. The prototype images from Marauders Sarge is probably the least drastic in design changes. It's still the same figure, but the paint is only minimally different than the final product. What's interesting is the accessories. In one shot he appears to have more of a billy club as opposed to his swagger stick that he would come with. And the second shot he is holding a pistol. This would have been the only time in the vintage line where he would hold a firearm. I tweeted out a question to Sarge asking if it was a Hasbro decision or a personal choice that his figure never came with a firearm, and he stated that with the Slaughter cannon and the Cobra clutch that he didn't really need a weapon to fight Cobra. I do like the extension of brown on the knees, but I wish they had painted the wristbands. It looks like a design choice from the beginning not to paint them, which is unfortunate. Slaughter's Marauders Sarge. Slaughter's Marauders Sarge. It's a tough one for me. The plastic quality is extremely poor, and out of all the Slaughters I have acquired, he's the one most likely to have a thumb missing. The blue mixed with the green and brown is just a weird choice, and the unpainted wristbands are distracting. And you can't just swap the arms for another version because Marauders Sgt has a skin tone that can only be described as supermarket mannequin. But he has grown on me. His flaws have become charms, he has character, and sometimes he has thumbs. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Marauders Sgt. Next time I'll be taking a look at something a little different. Fun School Super Cop. Have a great evening. You're dismissed.
Your main Cobra? Wait till you meet Slaughter's Marauders. Slaughter's Marauders camouflage, they can't be seen. But you better believe they're mean, they're mean. There's me, and Spirit, and Footloose on the attack.
Slaughter's Marauders to the rescue!
Hey, this!
Go!
Nobody beats G.I.Joe. G.I.Joe, Slaughter's Marauders.
Equalizer, Armadillo, and Police. Figures sold separately.
Nobody beats G.I. Joe. Yo-Joe.
Time for bed. Jump off that couch, turn that television off, head upstairs, say your prayers, brush your teeth, and we'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Okay? That's an order.